Whether it's becoming the first female governor of South Carolina or running for president against her former boss, Nikki Haley isn't afraid to chart her own path. Here's how the former UN ambassador continues to surprise the doubters by doing things her way. Born in South Carolina in 1972 to Sikh Punjabi parents, Nikki Haley recognized at a young age that people treated her family differently.
I was the proud daughter of Indian immigrants. Not black, not white. I was different.
As she recalled to Politico, strangers would gawk at them when they were out in public, and a stand owner once called the police on her father when he was simply shopping for produce. She told the outlet, hearing them make fun of him or what my mom was wearing, or when the country club opened up and they invited everybody, or we went to the picnic and nobody would sit with us. I remember that pain. She endured racist comments and struggled to feel like she fit in with her classmates. And yet, her longtime friend, Tom Davis, argues that this all shaped Haley to be the perfect presidential candidate. He wrote in an opinion piece for the Post and Courier, "She's been an outsider since day one, and never, not once, has she given up and become an insider like almost every other politician." During her first weekend at college, Nikki was introduced to a guy named Bill Haley. She didn't know it at the time, but he would eventually become her husband. In her 2012 memoir, Can't Is Not an Option, Nikki detailed her first meeting with Bill, who she thought was quiet and cute. She explained that she enjoyed his company but was a novice when it came to dating. Haley wrote, "I wasn't ready to like him too much." She and Bill stayed in contact and grew closer after he broke up with his girlfriend. The two shared stories about their childhood and eventually began dating. Early on in their courtship, Bill shared his full name, William Michael Haley. Nikki decided Michael was a better fit than Bill, so she started using his middle name from that point forward. Clearly, this stuck. Nikki wrote, "Everyone who knew him before I did knows him as Bill, and everyone who met him after I did knows him as Michael." They married in 1996. Hillary Clinton came pretty close to making history as the United States' first female president. And as it turns out, she's the reason Nikki Haley is following her footsteps in 2024. When she sat down for an interview with the New York Times in 2012, Haley talked about how Clinton was the one who inspired her to run for office. It's no secret that, in the past, it was unheard of for women to attempt this. As Haley said, women were made to believe they couldn't run because they had other responsibilities. It was never a case of women not being capable of taking on the challenge. Haley herself had listed many reasons why she couldn't run for office, but after she attended an event where Clinton was one of the speakers, it changed both her outlook and the course of her career. Haley explained, "Everybody was telling me why I shouldn't run. I was too young, I had small children. There will be everybody that tells you why you shouldn't, but that's all the reasons why we need you to do it." And I walked out of there thinking, that's it, I'm running for office. Politics is a dirty business, and Nikki Haley experienced this firsthand when she was accused of having an extramarital affair during her gubernatorial campaign in 2010. The allegations surfaced a few weeks before the primary election. The timing was awfully suspicious. Haley was ahead of her competitors and looked set to win when her former employee, political blogger Will Folks, claimed he had an affair with her. He wrote in a statement on his website, Fitz News, "Several years ago, prior to my marriage, I had an inappropriate physical relationship with Nikki. That's it." He didn't elaborate, but he didn't have to. The damage was done. The week after, a South Carolina lobbyist made similar claims, saying he had a one-night stand with Haley. Haley was furious and vehemently denied the allegations.
I have been absolutely faithful to my husband for 13 years.
She told Politico, "When they couldn't defeat me on the merits, that's what they did. And they literally paid money to have that happen. And it's something that, I'll never get over it." There isn't any proof that Haley's competitors paid money for the smear campaign, but she believes it to be true. It seemed many voters sympathized with Haley's conundrum, seeing the allegations as nothing but a vindictive attack from her competitors. It might have been a rocky road, but Haley managed to win the South Carolina gubernatorial election in 2010 and made history in the process.
I think South Carolina is ready for Nikki Haley, and I'm going to do everything I can to make them proud.
Haley became the first woman to ever be elected the state's governor, while simultaneously becoming the second Indian American governor in the nation's history. That year, she and Susana Martinez became the country's first non-white female governors. Making history, however, was no easy feat, and at one point during the primary elections, Haley thought that she might lose to her competitor, Congressman Gresham Barrett. However, she ended up beating him by 30 points. It turned out that the extramarital affair allegations worked in her favor more than she could have bargained for. One of Barrett's campaign leaders, consultant Terry Sullivan, told Politico that Barrett's campaign had plenty of ammunition to use against Haley, which ended up failing because the infidelity scandal was all the media cared about. Sullivan admitted, "We had all this bad shit on her, all these fines from the IRS, all these shady payouts she was taking as a consultant while working in the legislature, and we were going to beat her with it during the runoff, but that all went to waste." Nikki Haley hasn't been afraid to make big moves. In 2015, she pushed for the Confederate flag to be removed from South Carolina's state capitol building. Her decision to call for its removal came after a mass shooter killed 9 black people at a church in Charleston. The shooter had a long history of promoting white supremacist views online and was photographed wearing clothing adorned with white supremacist symbols. He also shared an image of the Confederate battle flag. Haley, who on previous occasions didn't support the Confederate flag's total removal but rather opted to move it from the state capitol's dome, changed her mind after the shooting. She took the necessary steps to get the ball rolling to remove the contentious flag once and for all. Haley said in a speech, "Today, we are here in a moment of unity in our state without ill will to say it is time to remove the flag from our capitol grounds."
That flag, while an integral part of our past, does not represent the future of our great state.
Less than a month after promising to make work of it, Haley signed a bill to remove the flag. This feat earned her a spot on Time magazine's list of 100 most influential people in the world in 2016. When Donald Trump first ran for president in 2015, Haley wasn't afraid to publicly denounce him.
Donald Trump is everything we hear and teach our kids not to do in kindergarten.
As Politico recounted, Trump clapped back by calling Haley a bitch. Haley, unlike some of her GOP peers, never apologized or crawled back with her tail between her legs after Trump won the election.
I don't put up with bullies. And when you kick back, it hurts them more if you're wearing heels.
She had no plans to become part of his administration, and given Trump's proclivity for holding a grudge, her chances of working in the White House were practically zero anyway. But then, Lieutenant Governor Henry McMaster, who endorsed Trump, asked the president to offer Haley a job because he wanted to replace her as governor. Trump obliged, and somewhat surprisingly, he and Haley got along. The job Trump offered to Haley was that of the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. Whether or not Haley was aware of the dealings between Trump and McMaster at the time is unclear, but she didn't give Trump an easy yes. During one of her 2024 campaign speeches, Haley revealed how the conversation between her and Trump went down. She said that she accepted the job under 3 conditions, the first of which was that she wanted to work with Trump directly. The second was that she wanted to be part of the decision-making process. The third condition was that she wanted to be able to speak her mind. Haley told the audience, "I said, well, I'm not going to be a wallflower or a talking head. I need to be able to say what I think." And he said, "Nikki, that's exactly why I want you to do this." And he was true to his word from the first day to the last day. Haley didn't stick around for Trump's entire time in office. In 2018, she stepped down from the position. When Nikki Haley spoke to Politico shortly after the 2020 election results were in, America was caught in a period of immense tension. Donald Trump insisted that the election had been stolen from him.
We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
Haley, who had never been afraid to stick it to Trump, admitted that she hadn't tried to reason with him. She told Politico, "I understand the president. I understand that genuinely to his core, he believes he was wronged. This is not him making it up." This statement seemed borderline uncharacteristic for Haley, as she'd challenged Trump publicly in the past. Immediately after the January 6, 2021 insurrection, Haley changed her tune to some degree. During a speech she delivered at the Republican National Committee meeting the day after the insurrection, she said, "Trump was badly wrong with his words yesterday. And it wasn't just his words. His actions since Election Day will be judged harshly by history."
I would always tell him he was his own worst enemy.
Fast forward to 2023, and Haley started openly condemning the insurrection and all who took part in it. She told a crowd at a town hall, "I don't know enough about each individual rioter, but that's my role. If you break the law, you pay the price." In 2021, Nikki Haley told the media that she wouldn't run against Trump if he chose to enter the 2024 presidential race. By the time 2023 rolled around, however, it appeared that Haley changed her mind. She announced her bid for the White House in February of that year. Haley said in her announcement speech, "The Washington establishment has failed us over and over and over again. It's time for a new generation of leadership to rediscover fiscal responsibility, secure our border, and strengthen our country, our pride, and our purpose." It appears that Haley kept her word to talk it out with the former president before announcing that she was seeking her party's nomination. At least, that's what Trump told reporters when asked about his new rival. He claimed that Haley told him she wanted to run and that he told her she should do it. With Nikki Haley challenging Donald Trump for the Republican presidential nomination, it didn't come as a surprise when she finally turned against him. While she hadn't engaged in the same mudslinging campaign the former president has launched against her, she's spoken candidly about him while trying to remain respectful. She said at an event in New Hampshire in January 2024, "I don't talk about opponents. I never have. I don't think you want to hear it." While making a speech in Iowa, Haley firmly set herself apart from Trump while also managing to somewhat appeal to his loyal fans. She told the audience, "I personally think President Trump was the right president at the right time. I agree with a lot of his policies, but the reality is, rightly or wrongly, chaos follows him." In another speech, Haley said that the country needs a president who has moral clarity and that her way of doing things won't mimic that of Trump's. Haley said, "I don't have vengeance. I don't have vendettas. I don't take things personally. For me, it's very much about no drama, no whining, and getting results."